Hello and welcome to today's show, special Sunday, so we can get Greg Thomlinson, spelled with a H.
Correct.
Ignore my spelling mistakes. No one told me.
You're not the
that
first
last
person.
minute?
I'm sure you won't be the last.
I've never seen it spelled with a H before. That's what it is.
It's because we're unique.
That's what it is. Definitely what it is. Right. So you're coming on the show to talk about a couple of different things that I know nothing about. I know about.
Yeah.
Well, I do and I don't. Yeah. So, but we do have a special co-host who's going to be joining us. Not sure if any of you guys know who this is going to be, but here they are.
Hello.
Found time out of a very busy schedule of October, November to come and join us. I wonder why that is.
Our time is just synchronized.
It's just amazing, isn't it? You couldn't write this, could you? You just couldn't write it. So thank you both for coming on. Absolute pleasure. It's great to see Sarah back. No, it's fine. It's great to see Sarah back on here again as well, which a lot of the viewers will also agree with. So thank you. So Sarah is kind of guesting but co-hosting as well. So we're both going to be asking Greg questions and shit, apparently.
So.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So anyway. So I'll let you ask the first question, Sarah.
Me?
It's been a while. Come on, you've not forgot already, have you?
Andy, I don't know. I'm going to start this now. Oh, you've put me on the spot.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I thought this was a slick operation, but
you'd think, won't you?
Well, welcome back to the paranormal world, Greg.
Thank you. It's been a while. It has been a while.
It has been a while. Are you glad to be back?
I am. Yeah. It's been a strange 12 months, and I lost my mojo a little bit, but now
it's back. So what is it you've missed the most from the world of this nonsense?
So I've missed doing the podcast. I've missed just the high strangeness that is this whole world, as it were. Is something that I've been into for most of my life. So it was odd to take sort of 12 months out, but glad I did, and it's good to be back.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it a needed break?
Yes.
It was just.
It was hit a point in my life where we'd been doing. So me and Ash had been doing the Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast for 3 years, and that was full on. That was at least 2 episodes a week at one point. We was up to 4 episodes at one point, and a lot of things going on in my life as well, which led me to need to sort of step back for a little bit. But all of that's resolved now.
All started.
I'm in a much better place. Yeah.
Excellent. Perfect. Glad to hear that anyway, because we have been chatting over the last couple of weeks about when you messaged about coming on and that, and we got quite a lot in common. I know it's like non-paranormal stuff, but it's like, oh my God, don't believe this. It was just, the rave scene back in the 90s and 2000s. So same time but different places. Same sort of thing. So it's all good. So now you're back in the paranormal scene, investigating. Are you going to be going out? You're going to be boots on the ground?
Hopefully. I've been invited out by someone to do stuff. But no, it'll be good. I want to sort of get back into it. I've got all the equipment still. So it will be good to sort of cut my teeth again and go back out and get back into what I found before, which was like a wild sort of environment to be in, that you never really knew what would happen, whether anything would happen. And when it did, it could be crazy stuff. So yeah, all good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, good.
We were chatting, and you're not that too far away from me, and I have invited you over to this end, where there's a small group of people that we kind of get together and do stuff. I was supposed to go out last night, but I fell asleep most of the afternoon and didn't wake up late. Then I had something to eat, and Joe, when you're just not feeling it, it was just one of them.
Yeah. And the weather's not so great at the moment, is it? So
no, not at all. It was like we had a mini hurricane earlier. Oh, there's trees out the back of my house, and they were like that. It's like, oh, what? It's honestly, it's like it only lasted 5 minutes. The rain was shooting down. It was bouncing off the window. It was horizontal, and the trees were just bent, like proper bent. And then, like 3-4 minutes, done.
Oh no, it's not been that bad here.
No,
although it was really
down south,
really
it's not too bad either.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's all right now. It's still a bit grey, but it's warmed up, so it's all good.
Yes, yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, so you're not too far away. I'm out by Oxford, so
you're just down the
time between Oxford and
the A43 is literally like straight across.
A43, yeah. It's not too far away at all.
No, you're probably about an hour or so. So
don't even think it's that. I think it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, you were saying
minutes or something.
Yeah. So you're welcome to come over any time and go out and investigate.
Thank you.
A few different places. Right. So you was going to talk about a book. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
God for that.
So I'm in the process of writing a book at the moment, which will be my second book. So the first one was Paranormal United States that me and Ash Ellis wrote together, following our sort of series that we did on the United States. So this book is around poltergeists. So poltergeists are something that fascinated me since I was 7 or 8. So right back in the 80s.
Yeah.
When a TV program used to be on called Arthur C. Clarke's World of Strange Mysteries. They don't do a program like that anymore, really. It was all weird stuff like stigmata, all sorts of weird stuff. So they also showed a poltergeist case, which was the Enfield poltergeist.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out, which when I was about 7 or 8 it's like extremely scary. But that's what got me into the paranormal world right back then. And it's just been one of those things that's sort of piqued my interest since then. So I've been lucky enough that where I've had some time out, I've been able to sort of moved house and had a lot of free time in the evening. So I've been able to start writing a book. So and it's around poltergeists, whether or not they're from the paranormal or whether they're manifestations of an adolescent mind.
Yeah.
So
excellent. So Ash has just put the first book is really good.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
It is. We spent a lot of time writing that together.
And the second one will be as well. So
yes, hopefully.
How are you finding writing a book other than having the time to do it?
Difficult.
Is it?
Difficult. I didn't do so good at school, especially with English and English literature.
Yeah.
So, and that was the time at school before the internet and stuff. So that was real tough times. No, it's just finding the motivation to write bits at a time.
Yeah,
I do. That's probably the worst bit.
How are you structuring it? Have you did you section it off first? How are you making? How's the flow to writing it? What's the plan?
So
have you got the whole book planned out?
Yes, I have. I've got the introduction, obviously, but then I've started looking at planning out what is a poltergeist, what are the sort of the steps of a poltergeist. So there are different sort of, how do I describe it? There are different escalation points from a poltergeist haunting or whatever it is, and I look at part of that. So I've got the introduction, what is a poltergeist, then what are the rules of a poltergeist, and then following on from that, I'm just going to see where it takes me. But then I'll cover off like the Enfield poltergeist, Bell Witch poltergeist. There's many, the Battersea poltergeist, and look at some of the cases towards the end.
Yeah.
Pardon?
30 East Drive.
Yeah, maybe.
That'll be a no.
I've never heard of that.
No.
Better be in
there. Yeah. What's your belief then, as of this moment? Because I know everyone's opinion and theories change. What is your belief now that what a poltergeist actually is?
So there is definitely a paranormal element to it.
Yeah.
But I do believe that this paranormal entity or whatever it is a manifestation of someone's mind. So there's something called RSPK, which is recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, which is when you've got that internal rage, and your emotions are all over the place, and you're prepubescent girl, typically, and all this rage just comes out, this internal conflict comes out, and it manifests itself in objects moving, that kind of stuff. And I think that's how it starts. So it actually starts internally and then goes external, and it's that external sort of rapping, the knocking noises, then it escalates to moving objects, then it escalates to voices, then it escalates to sort of physical attacks. So I believe it's both. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So you'll have heard of the Rochdale poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that one was what Steve Mera, he ended up investigating that one. With that, there was a cup, just a normal ceramic cup that went missing. Mm-hmm. It vanished and then it came back.
Yeah. That's a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic poltergeist activity. So, for example, the Enfield haunting, marbles used to appear and disappear. They would just drop out of the sky. Lego would be thrown across the room, that kind of stuff. So that's why the paranormal side of it is you've got other like South Shields poltergeists, all these different ones, Bothell Hell House, where pot plants were spinning, Bibles setting on fire. It's crazy. And to think they could actually have started by some adolescent teenager with internal conflict.
Yeah, but you'll also know then about the water on the ceiling at the Rochdale poltergeist one. And I spoke to Steve about it. He'd been on the show and he was saying they tested the water and it was just normal H2O. They didn't test whether, like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I don't know if it's like canal water, rainwater, whatever. It was classed as water. But for it to be on the ceiling and not drop and then come out, for it to come out of nowhere, that's pretty impressive. Whatever energy it is that's causing that to happen.
Absolutely. And water is a classic poltergeist trait, as it were. So Enfield, they had water. So it's interesting because part of when me and Ash were doing the podcast together, that we looked at paranormal activity around water. So there's lots of ranches in the US.
Yeah.
So you've got Skinwalker Ranch, you've got Stardust Ranch. There's a few others. Something Blind Frog Ranch. They're all based near water. A lot of hauntings and churches are based around water because it's quite a spiritual thing. So which
you found.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's me. You carry on. Don't worry.
I was going to say, so you do find that the spiritual side of things has got an element of water, and water, dowsing rods used to find water, and that's a spiritual way of finding energy. So
yeah.
Yeah. When we go out and investigate, a lot of the places that we go to are built on like wells. There's a well underneath, or there's like a stream that's kind of passes underneath the house, or we find that quite a bit. It's meant to be used as a bit of a portal, isn't it? And it's seen that way anyway. It's seen as a portal, a way for them to kind of lift the veil of things as such. But yeah, I don't know why. It's an organic, not an organic element, but it's an element. But I think a lot of hauntings are based around organic matter, and then like elements as well. So I don't know. It's it is interesting how it's the link to water. It's one of the first signs with the poltergeist is water dripping from a ceiling, or sort of puddles of water showing up for no reason. And
But with you saying that about the water, you know there's good and bad water, don't you?
Do you
know this?
No.
So I was speaking to Maria Wheatley. I've met her, but she's been on the show a couple of times. She does all the dowsing rods. She does a lot of. She works down at Stonehenge doing the tours and like all that around Wiltshire. I think it's Wiltshire, wherever Stonehenge is anyway. And she was saying you can be drawn to bad water as well as good water. I can't remember Joe's put stagnant water. It's not stagnant water. It's somewhat. I can't remember exactly what it is without speaking to her or watching it back. But if you look that up, it can change what's going on, and that's why you get negative and positive.
Yeah. What is it in dowsing rods? Because I don't use them really. What is it in dowsing rods what is it about water that attracts the dowsing rods? Like what do you know what I mean? Why do they move to water? Is it an energy thing?
It's an energy thing because they use it for ley lines as well.
Yeah, it's constantly moving. Well, when we was at Rendlesham last weekend. We're going to talk about this on Wednesday, and I've got the video for it, but don't want to go too deep into it. I was using dowsing rods at the UFO, and I was saying, "Can you point to such a body? Can you do this?" And every single time it was doing it. Tim was stood behind me. Went, "Can you point to Tim?" And they just went, hit me shoulders because obviously they couldn't get past anymore, and that was it. So every single thing, and I was like, "What is going on?" You actually see me go, "I don't know how this is working. I am not doing it." The dowsing rods are in sleeves, so you're doing that. They move a little bit, but I couldn't get them both to turn the same way without physically doing that individually. And
so we went to Cannock Chase, me, Ash, and Abby from UFO Identified, and I don't know if we've got it on video. I shall tell you, but we were doing some calling out in Cannock with the dowsing rods, and one of the dowsing rods was essentially spinning round with one of the questions. It's weird. It's really weird. And the dowsing rods that I've got are like copper, and they've got the sleeves as well. So you have to really you'd have to tilt them to get them to spin round.
Are they ones that fold up and look like a little pen?
No, but I know which ones you mean.
Yeah, well, they're the ones I've got. It's like when I bought them, I was like, "Well, can't use this," and realize doesn't tell you've got to pull it out, and then it's got a little hinge on it. But even when I was using them, one of them had not bent it properly. It was getting caught on the sleeves, and so as soon as I bent it up like a millimeter, it was working fine, same as the other one then. But it's just really very weird. But Og sent me a link and an image. So when we use at Rendlesham, there are ley lines under Rendlesham, and the ley line that runs under Rendlesham is ley line number 9. Now, I didn't know that these ley lines were numbered. I thought they all had names. No. So apparently it runs all the way up to Scotland, probably further.
Okay. It's interesting because there's a ley line under the ancient Ram Inn. There's actually they cross over underneath the ancient Ram Inn, and where Skinwalker Ranch is over in the US.
Yeah.
There's a ley line that goes through there, and also Stardust Ranch at the same ley line. So if you know about Stardust Ranch, which is
that's my favorite out of every ranch, it's just amazing. That is one, because I just quickly, I'd heard about, obviously I knew about Skinwalker, then I heard about Stardust, and I started listening to podcasts on it. I'm like, oh my god, this is like every alien like poltergeist movie all put into one real live happening thing. From the guy walking down the gate carrying a sword or machete to him finding the sword that fell off the back of that wagon when they was going into town, all the crap that was dumped in the pool when they moved in, and they're like, nothing to do with us. We didn't even send anyone out to do it. To him keeping some sort of weapon within 8 foot, no matter where he was in the house.
So me and Ash, I was after getting him John Edmonds as a guest for months and months. It took me months to get hold of him, and I managed to pin him down. I saw he was on Facebook one day, and I replied to one of his comments he put on a post, and he messaged, and he's like, right, let's do it now. So I said to Ash, right, we've got to try and figure out how to. He got no internet access properly at his place, so we had to Skype call him. And we were fairly new to the podcasting world at that point. And had one of the most insane conversations. Weird stuff happened during the podcast. And it was like my Skype completely shut down, my computer shut down. And I've got a new Mac, like a 24-inch Mac thing, iMac. And my Skype shut down, the Mac completely shut down, restarted, everything came back up. And I rejoined the Skype call, and I was like, sorry about that. And they're like, what are you on about? I was like, the Skype call just finished. They're going, hey, you've been here the whole time. So I didn't even, the weirdest thing. Me and Ash used to get loads of weird stuff happen during podcasts, but that was one of the weirdest things. And the guy was such a nice guy. He killed 19 aliens with a samurai sword.
I know. I know that there was one, and he could see him coming through the summer house, and I remember listening to him telling the story, and he sat watching the TV, and he just seen like 3 heads pop through some sort of gateway, and he waited for him to get. He just reached out, grabbed the sword, and when he knew he could just see him in the peripheral, he just swung out and decapitated it. And then that was put in his freezer, and then that was sent off to some secret lab for analysis. Apparently, it's still there. There's only a handful of people that know where it is, and that is actually a true story. It's been proven to be real.
So he's got the DNA results of this testing of the flesh of this creature, and the guy that tested it, this scientist, after the results came back, which is on John Edmonds' site, mysteriously died. The scientist mysteriously died, and it's all you can verify everything. This prominent scientist who done it then died somehow, like a car accident or something, but weirdly timed.
It seems to be an ongoing thing, doesn't it, with people sharing the truth. So that's why I just do this for entertainment, just in case anyone from the 77 are listening, or FBI or MIB, whatever. Just pure entertainment. That is it.
Don't use any trigger words. No trigger words.
This is for entertainment purposes only. The end. Right, that's it. But no, I got annoyed with myself because I was contacting John to get him on the show. I didn't realize he died like the week before, and I felt so bad because it was his is it Mary, his wife? I think it's Mary, and she's like, he would have loved to have come on, but then explained everything. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. You know, when you just feel so bad inside. But then she was saying like, we're going to be doing a live thing at his funeral. I said, look, if you want to share it, send me the link and I'll put it up on my Facebook group. So I thought that's the least I could do for having the shittest timing ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just
Ash just has put up. Yeah, glad we spoke to John before he died.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how long it was, Ash, but yeah, it was one of our most popular episodes. It was just one of them sort of conversations that happened so quickly that we just like, fuck, we need to. I don't know if I can swear on this. That it timed. It was just perfect timing. Like certain things happen in your life, and you go, "Cool, that happened at the right time," and it all fitted in nicely within that day, and it was just a mad panic to try and have a chat to him.
Yeah, but I'm just gutted that my timing wasn't the greatest. But speaking of weird stuff with Ash, so you know that I was up in Manchester a few months ago and was doing the paranormal road trip. Have you seen this picture, Greg? So
I don't know.
I'm interviewing me and my cousin. I'm interviewing Ash in his basement, and I'm using the night vision goggles, so everything's just green and black.
That's a creepy place, isn't it?
It is.
It is a creepy place.
Just a little bit.
I think we're due to go back, actually.
So we were stood in the doorway where he's had all the different stuff going on, and he went, "Oh," and he thought he'd walk back into the doorway. So it's like as you're looking in from the stairs, it's the under the front of the house, but on the left-hand side as you're in the house looking out. Yeah. So he's in that doorway, and he thought he banged into it. So my cousin quickly put his torch on and that, and we had a look, and he's still about 1.5 foot away from it. But he felt like, Joe, when you're in the bar and someone puts their hand on your back to get past without like pushing you over. And then he took a photo straight away, and this is what we got. Now, I don't know if you can see, but there's one, I can see 3 long spoon-like fingers, and then like a large palm that cuts down to like a triangle shape. But we didn't see anything, didn't hear anything.
Where that happened is basically when the first time I went to Ash's basement and we heard that breath that was kind of in that corridor where this is where the stairs are, where we had that selfie. There's a big group picture of us that we all there. That was where it was, and we heard a breath there. And then it's where you also heard that when you went as well. Was it the first time you went to his basement, Greg, when you heard something be thrown? It was in that vicinity, wasn't it? And I think there's a picture that looks like there's something in the background. I'll try and find it. It's one of the it looks like there's a blurred image in the background of where Ash was pushed.
That sounds dodgy as hell, but anyway.
Yeah.
Serial killer vibes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. First time he invited us to his basement, it was like, oh.
I just invited myself. What? Come on, let's go to the basement.
Thing is, if anyone asks me, I'm always like, you've got to go to Ash's basement. Like, let's go. So
it is.
His neighbours must think, who does he keep bringing down to his basement?
What's going on?
Well, it's basically like where there's a picture of us all, and in the background, it's like a blurred outline of. It feels like there's something there, but there's not. I'll have to find it because it's where Ash was pushed. And me and Emma, we always look at it and think that looks like there's something stood in the background, and I can't quite make out what it is, but it looks. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a blur, but I'll find it and I'll send it to you. But it was in the same place that it got pushed, so.
It's creepy down there, and I know we tried Ouija boards in there, me and Ash. The cameras, the full spectrum cameras, the batteries ran out quite quick, and then just as we were literally I've got the footage. We posted it on the page at times. That we're just finishing off, and I'm sort of like recording me and Ash, and all of a sudden you just hear this sound just off camera, and it's that area where everything seems to happen. It's such a weird basement. It's weird as hell.
It is. It's very odd. But it's going back about ley lines just quickly. Simon's just sent me a link, and so Paul Sinclair goes to Bempton and he sees the lights and all that up near Flamborough. The ley line from Rendlesham goes literally it goes through Rendlesham, then up to Bempton or thereabouts. So it's not they're not a million miles apart.
Okay.
So, yes,
I'm fascinated about the ley lines. It's definitely something that's very interesting in terms of all these secret weird power lines and such like. I do find it fascinating that like hundreds of years ago that they used those ley lines to find power and water and all that kind of stuff. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Well, you know, I've got a kayak and I go out on the water. So someone had a good idea the other day. So I joined a sailing club, but yeah, it's not as fancy as it sounds. It's as expensive as it sounds, but it is fancy. But someone had an idea. I think it was Darren, baby with a laser. He goes, "Why don't you go out to the lake? Yeah, get the dowsing rods and see if the dowsing rods can power you from one place to another." So I'm going to be doing something like that. But that was one of the reasons why I got the kayaks, so that I can go on the rivers and lakes, canals and that.
Okay. Yeah.
And do film it as I'm going, whether it's live or pre-recorded, so I can see if I pick anything up. Because when you're in a forest or a field and that, and you see a lake, but then you can't get down to see the perspective from the other side. So I thought, flightable kayak, just get in it and go the opposite way. Just not go the opposite way. Look at it from the opposite end, from a different angle.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my plan on doing that. A little bit cold at the moment, but I'm going to be doing it. So I'll wait for the misty mornings, and then when it's not raining. So I'll let you know if the dowsing rods work when I'm out on actually on the water, because that might have a completely different take on it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's interesting question just come up from. I love it when people put names in that I can't read. Bosatsu. So
I was thinking about this.
Yeah, why do you hear breath when ghosts don't need to breathe?
Do you not think that? Go on. What were you gonna?
I was just gonna say maybe that's the easiest way for them to make a noise to let you know that they are there.
Yeah, isn't it? It's quite a low frequency as well when your breath sounds.
It's just, isn't it really?
It is. It's because they might not have lungs, but they can replicate the sound. Because we're not feeling the breath, are we? Like, well, sometimes people do say that they felt like a breath or a bit of wind or whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time when they hear the the breath, it is just the breath sound. So it's not necessarily coming from anyone with a pair of lungs.
But
it's a low frequency sound.
But they did used to breathe.
Well, yeah. But then
so it's not.
Here's another question then. What are you saying about wind? Why don't you hear them fart? I'm not trying to be comical with it, but if you can hear them breathe, why don't you hear them fart? I know I've heard them coughing,
more energy,
and sneezing. But what if it isn't breath? What if they're trying to like grab hold of you and it's an arm, like they're trying to move their arm and it's causing, like where you said you can feel it on the back of you. I'm not saying it is that. That could just be a possibility. But like I said, when I've been out with Tim and we've done a recording, we've heard heavy breathing over the top of when we've been talking, like you guys have when you've gone out doing stuff as well.
Unless it's the only way, if they can't replicate the sound of a voice, they can't because that requires quite a bit of. That must be really hard to make a voice sound from nothing. If you are nothing, that is, whatever, I don't know what, we don't really know, then I can't even then doing a breath sound.
Sorry, yeah. But but then again, but on a serious note again, right, is so when you're out investigating, and they always say a sulfur smell, if you smell sulfur, then it's paranormal. What if they have what if they have farted? What if that is them farting?
Or what if you just think it's someone in your team and you're being polite?
So, is that dirty shit?
Oh, it's just Tony again.
No, but it's like that sulfur smell. What if that smell is a type of any? What if smells are frequency? Because you say everything is frequency, so each smell must have its own frequency as well.
Yeah, maybe.
People do, but then do you not think sometimes as well, if like only one person can smell something, like have you ever been sat there and you think, oh, I've just got a smell of lavender or a smell of like smoke, but you know it's not there, it's in your mind, and they're not just, is it the smell? Is there actually a smell, or are they just manipulating your own senses to make you think?
You know?
I've been on an investigation, and me and one of the guys from the team, we walked down sort of a narrow passageway from the front of a shop to the back of a shop, and we both walked through what appeared to be like a cloud of like cigarette smoke, and we immediately both walked back, and it wasn't there.
Oh.
And we both independently, so I both walked forward from the back of the property to the front of the property and smelt the cigarette smoke, and we both looked at each other and said, "Did you smell that?" And we walked back, literally a small passageway, no smell at all after that. And it was definitely smoke. But like you say, is our mind being played?
But did you know that smell is the shortest way to release a memory? As soon as you smell something, you remembering where you was, who you was with, what you was doing. It's the quickest, the shortest of the quickest ways.
CK1 reminds me of the 90s.
Yeah, I had to feel. How about CK1? Was that like CE5? It's like, no. Two totally different things.
Just about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. You do get a smell of something, and you can remember exactly where you were when you first or last smelt that.
Yeah, that nostalgic feel straight away. Yeah. So that on its own is quite interesting, to be honest.
Yeah. So if it can trigger off your memories and things that quickly, then surely if they're releasing smells and things, it's the quickest way for them to tap into your mind rather than anything else.
Question then for both of you: if that smell is releasing a memory and you remember who you was with, if that person has passed, is it possible it could be that person that's trying to trigger a memory for you of them?
Maybe. Even if it was in a property that I've never been into, because so my dad used to smoke cigarettes all the time, Marlboro. I remember the smell distinctly of just cigarette smoke in the house. But if that was him trying to sort of
sorry,
was seeking, was that him trying to communicate with me, but just in a completely different property that I've never been into before? Or is it just the spirit of that particular environment, maybe?
Yeah.
But then that suggests that there's an awareness.
Yeah.
So like with poltergeist, there's an awareness. They are very aware of what they're doing is causing fear in the household. But then you've got like a residual or like a stone tape sort of theory where it's just on repeat all the time. How can that be something that's got an awareness?
But then,
maybe
that's the easiest thing to create then, to recall that memory.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the smell that they had around the time when they because I don't know who these they are, but we keep saying they say that when you pass, you can be at any age you want, and you choose the best age of your life that you was at. Yeah. So if they're doing that, maybe that's a smell from their best memory, and it's not really anything to do with you. They're trying to get you to find out who they are. I don't know.
What if it's nothing to do with us at all? We are completely unaware of us, and we just so happen to be in a place where they're. If it's residual, if it is residual, what if it's their memory is everything in the memory is replaying, is residual energy for them. but we just so happen to be tapping into that, and like as our mind, because we don't really know the full capability of our mind. What if we just so happen, because smell is the easiest, quickest way for us to pick things up. What if we just tapping into that completely, like by chance? They're not trying to communicate with us, might not be intelligent. It's just that whatever's happening in that property at that time, residual or intelligent, it's releasing memories or releasing things that they remember from a certain time. Maybe not even as a spirit being a person, but just an energy. And we just still happen to be tapping into the smells that are going on at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but just quickly, I've been driving around in my van, yeah? Like, as you know, go all over the place. And I don't smoke, never smoked, right? No one's ever smoked in my van. It's literally only me that's driven it. And I can smell someone, or I can smell someone or something smoking a cigarette. Everything about it. And it's not like it's a couple of seconds. It'll last like at least half a minute. So I'm like, is there someone sat at the side of me that I can't see?
Well, everything's layered, isn't it? Everything. So it could be.
I have spoke to people about it, and they said it could be the vehicle in front of the vehicle at the side, but I have the aircon on all the time. Only put the windows down if there's a fly or a bug or something in the van to get it out. But the rest of the time, I have aircon on, so I'm not getting any outside smells at all, because with having the aircon on, that helps with me hay fever. So I know
could
it's
be
not
like
that.
a bit of a parallel universe thing, because sort of all organic matter and sort of everything is layered in.
Yeah,
it could be that it is the same in life. It's like it's all layered, loads of different kind of universes, and you are just experiencing a little bit of another universe that's on top of yours.
Because I said this the other night on one of the shows, I can't remember which one, or I think it was last week when Eric Minter was on. What if, like, when we see these ghosts are like in Edwardian or Victorian clothing, the majority of them are, right? And we see them, and they're looking at us as puzzled as we're looking at them. What if it is a parallel universe or a parallel realm? What if that realm, the nearest one to us, is the late 1800s, early 1900s, and that's why we're seeing them? What if it's like, it's got to be like a minimum of 100 years before you can see the next one? What if that is, like Greg was saying before about the laws of poltergeist, what if there is laws of paranormal, and one of the laws is it has to be a minimum of X amount of years, and that's why you don't see anything previous or after?
Yeah. Me and Emma have a theory about them being, because then you never see you never have a spirit that's from like 10 years ago, or well, we don't know that, but from what everything seems, exactly. Everything seems to be, generally they're all like 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th century, like they're all old. And what if there's a period of dormancy, like period where you are not able to release your energy, or I think it just holds for a certain amount of time. Like you said, there's got to be a minimum period of so much time, and that's why we don't really see ghosts from the 1940s, 1950s. We're kind of in the 1800s, aren't we? I mean, there isn't, maybe in 100 years people will be seeing late 1900 spirits, or because you don't really see anything in modern dress. But then you also think about, is it just that we learn about, think about it, we would never, our current day, in the last 100 years, it's all modern day to us, so we don't look back on the history in the last 100 years as being something that far in the past. So in our mind, it's modern history. But when we think about spirits, it's older, past history. And then when we think about ghosts, we think, they must be
but this is the other question.
1800s.
But this is the other question. I'll put this to Greg, right? So when you're walking down the high street, you've gone shopping, or you're going out, you're doing whatever you're doing, just normal everyday life. You're not investigating. Forget you're an investigator. Right? You've never gone out investigating before. You're walking down the street and you're seeing these people. How do you know these are real people and these are not full body apparitions of someone that has passed? Just because they look normal.
Very good point.
It goes back to that theory of like, we don't see that as being in the past enough to be a spirit. because we're tuned to see the last 100 years as like modern. So, and in our mind, when we think paranormal, we think old. So we don't. Yeah, we don't.
So what about this then? Just to throw this out there. So we've spoken on the podcast to many people about reincarnation, multiple lives, and I was told that I'm on my 27th life.
Right.
So, and then we've spoken to somebody who claimed he is or has been the gatekeeper to heaven or to wherever.
Yeah.
And that if you don't get in, as it were, that you reset and you start your life again. And that everybody that you know now are part of your recurring lives. So we interviewed a couple, or they weren't a couple, but they had been a couple in previous lives, apparently. I'm not quite entirely sure how you would explain that to your other half at the point. But but what if so I would become a ghost or a spirit or whatever you want to call me once I've completed all my life cycles. So I may not become this spirit for, say, another 200 years. So although I might die to you guys, say, whenever, that because I'm revisiting and reliving my life through another body over the course of hundreds of years, that's why you won't see me as a ghost after I die, because I've not fulfilled what I needed to fulfill, and therefore I've got to do it again. So I do over and do over and do over. So I might become a ghost in 50, 100 years' time. But we're in that period that, like Sarah said, that we're looking at olden day people as ghosts, 16th, 17th century people. It's because they've done their lives. They've done all their lives. So they can become a spirit. Whereas people in the last 100 years are still in that cycle of lives. So they won't become a spirit for another couple of 100 years, potentially. So we'll see all these little roadmen in about 100 years as ghosts. But we won't see it in our lifetime, as it were.
With the Rockport on and the Timberlands and all that.
Rockport.
Shoulder bag, man bag.
Nothing wrong with them.
Little JD sports bag.
Nothing wrong with them.
Little JD sports bag. Balaclava and stuff. I could explain why we don't see modern day spirits. It's because they're still working through the reincarnations until they pass over.
Right, here's a question. It's something that's been bugging me for the last 3 weeks. I've not asked it anyone on air yet. I've mentioned it to a couple of people. So you have a spirit and a soul. Would you say the spirit and the soul are the same thing? And if you had to choose one of them to be the ghost, which one would you think it is? Because people tend to say a ghost is a spirit of a dead person, but I tend to disagree with that. But I don't have anything really to back up with. It's just a feeling that I've got.
Oh, I would say a soul is more like a feeling of who you are, and a spirit is more of a manifestation of who you are.
Saying that, so when you see these videos and they're saying it, you see the person's soul leaving their body, and you see some like misty figure leaving the body after some tragic's happened.
Yeah.
So
is that
a soul or is that a spirit?
I would say a spirit stays, and a soul maybe passes on.
Just to throw something else in the mix, you've also got consciousness, which is the overall energy. So you've got consciousness, soul, and spirit. So what is it? Because all three can't be, well, they can be the same thing, but it wouldn't make sense for them to be the same thing.
If all three were all existed at once, it would be it'd be us. We are a soul, a spirit, and a consciousness.
Yeah, but what are you? So if you're all them three things at once, but outside the body, then what are you? Do you become the ghost?
Your consciousness would not exist anymore. No. Your soul would be what has made you in your life, and your spirit would be Oh, Andy!
Sorry. Look, it's a Sunday. I can throw whatever I want out here.
I think the Reverend Wild Bill is. I would say that the soul is that eternal energy that just
So
that will exist regardless of time. It's a timeless thing.
That's your consciousness then. Yeah.
No.
Oh no.
I would say
I haven't got anything else.
I would say the soul is like your timeless. That's you. That's everything. I would say your consciousness is the bit that makes you, like me, Greg, is my consciousness, my thinking bit, all that kind of stuff. And I think my spirit is what I would leave behind to represent both my consciousness, because that's how I would interact with people, and my soul just it's gone.
Yeah. Is your spirit the bit that kind of resides where it's past? And
that's what I think. Yeah.
There we go. Ghost is an ale. I wonder if anyone has one in jar. Oh, what would be the chances? So Bo Statsu,
why can't a ghost be an alien?
That's the other thing I was going to get to.
If we're talking parallel universes, we're talking different frequency ranges, and that'd be why aliens and UFOs or UAPs appear and disappear quickly enough, is that they actually change vibrational frequency, so you can't see them, but they stay there. Which is why sensors, when they upgrade the sensors in the US military, they start seeing more of these craft in the sky. It's because their sensors can now pick up these different frequencies, whereas we can't. So a ghost could be an alien, and a poltergeist could be an alien.
See, my take on poltergeist is it's all to do with the Fae elementals.
Okay.
That's just me, my personal opinion. I didn't used to think. I used to think it was, as everyone thinks, is a demon, an angry ghost. It's there to scare you. But then the more I've done this, I'm thinking more of it's the tricksters. They're not, because if they was going to scare you, surely slamming a cupboard door or moving a cup or making pots and pans bang isn't really scary. They're going to do something pretty bad. If it's going to be a demon, they're going to proper scare the shit out of you, aren't they? Not just do a bit of clattering and banging in the kitchen. So is it something they're doing it to get your attention?
Why are they trying to get your attention?
I don't know.
Because I think they feed on the energy that you create with your fear.
Yeah.
So that's why it ramps up. So it starts off as a knocking sound. And I watched a documentary, and I can't remember what the documentary was. And they're saying that the knocking sound, when they recorded this knocking sound,
and
when they played it back, this audio specialist played it back, the actual knocking sound was almost like the reverse waveform of a knocking. So it's almost like a reverse knock. It's really, I don't know how to explain it better.
Like a,
but
yeah.
But it sounded, the way it plays out compared to the way it's recorded, it's like a reverse thing.
Yeah.
But that's why it ramps up. So it starts off as a knocking noise, because that'd freak you out anyway. Then once you kind of get settled into the fact that there's a weird knocking noise, that's objects start moving, then the voices come, then the attacks come. And once it's driven you to the point of exhaustion, which is say 18, 24 months, it just drops off. And a lot of the poltergeist cases just stop. Literally just overnight can just stop. And is it because they've got all that energy from you and then they just drop off?
Yeah, never thought of it like that.
And that's why they only last days, weeks, months, maybe a couple of years. Enfield poltergeist, a couple of years. When
30 East Drive, 9,000 years. That's what I mean. It's just little things like that not bug me, but I suppose it does bug me a bit, because I'm not saying there's nothing going on at 30 East Drive, because I know people that have been and they've got stuff, but surely it's got to be more than poltergeist if it's continuing after how many years has it been going on? 40 years? Something like that?
Since 1966, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. So 60.
50 years. Yeah,
going on for 70 years. Right?
But was it, though, or was it going on sooner? Because the house was only built in, like, the 50s. What stood there before? I don't know what stood there before, but
I'm guessing
was it
fields, farms, like that part of the
Yeah.
country. That's pretty much what you're going to be having going on there.
Yeah.
But maybe it is maybe it is like Stardust, and it's not just poltergeist activity. Maybe the poltergeist activity has attracted other stuff that's going on there, and that's like, oh well, we've got somewhere that we can reside now, so we're going to stay here, and people turn up, we're going to do stuff, and that's just how it is. I'm not saying it is that possibility,
and I think that's one of the things. So going right back to the start of this conversation, when we talked about getting my paranormal mojo back and all that kind of stuff, it's the fact that we can have conversations like this and there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody's got their opinions, and everybody's opinion is valid, and everybody's opinion is sort of right as well, because unless you speak to other people and get their take on the conversation and what they think and what their opinion is, I think you can become very siloed as to, okay, you go, well, 30 East Drive, for example, is definitely poltergeist.
Yeah.
Whereas you have conversations like this, and you go, well, actually, how can it be if it's going on for a lot longer? And then, there's water, and then there's the ley lines, and then we have this whole broader conversation.
Yeah. But But going back to like seeing different spirits of different times. So you've got the ones like with the Romans marching through, or like places in Gettysburg where you've got like soldiers there like passing through or setting up camp. See, because when Eric and Rob Wood were on Paranormal Highway and Doctor Who, they said they'd gone out to Gettysburg one day and they were sat there and they was sat in the camp and they thought it was some reenactment that was going on, and they was pouring them drink and there's having stuff to eat with them. But they wasn't questioned about how they looked or vice versa. It wasn't until afterwards they found out that they was in some sort of time slip. So when you've got things like that are going on from like large groups of spirits in one place, then that kind of like knocks out the theory of what we were saying before about the going round and round until you're ready to pass to the next one. So maybe there are different laws for different types.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a lot. It just constantly contradicts itself right the way through, and it's just something you can't avoid it. It's just doing it like all the time, which is annoying because I think maybe it is doing it on purpose because it's getting you to the point where you think, right, I'm getting somewhere now, and you'll hear something, or see something, or experience something, and then it's like, well, that was a waste of time. Like 2-3 weeks trying to work it out, and then all of a sudden it switched to something else. I give up or start again and go down a different path. So this is what I mean. I don't think we're ever going to get any nearer. I think we'll get little tiny steps to finding out what's going on. But I think as soon as we think we're getting somewhere, something will switch. It's like, nah, I'm having you on. And then it's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's one of them moments, isn't it? That's how it feels. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah. It's the whole thing's just fascinating. It really is.
Yep. So come along for the ride. But the thing is, though, it is a good right. If you're going out and you're doing this stuff and you go into these different places and you get in the activity when you get there. But then if you put, people say it's all connected, and I'm slowly starting to, I suppose, disagree with it, because it doesn't feel like it's connected anymore. Everything feels like it's doing its own thing. Maybe it all comes from the same place, but I think each one has its own agenda.
But we've found when speaking to people that a lot of their experiences cross, say, paranormal, UAPs and UFOs. A lot of people who experience poltergeist activity as a younger person, or paranormal activity in their house when they were younger, tend to have like UFO or UAP experiences as they get older. We've spoken to many people where if they've had one of those, the paranormal experience, they've generally had one of the others. Whether or not be just weird and high strangeness has happened to them throughout their life. So it kind of, like you've got crypto and cryptoids and cryptids that they appear when there's like Yeti, Sasquatch appears in times when there's UFO flaps. There's paranormal activity around that kind of thing as well. So it seems to be related of sorts. Whether or not they're the same thing, I don't know. But whether one breeds the other, and it just, like they said, even at 30 East Drive, it's like one thing might just causing other things to happen, like at Stardust Ranch, Skinwalker Ranch, all sorts of places. Very weird.
Yeah. But it's like all these skeptics that are out there, and they're like, well, I don't believe any of this. None of it can be true. All these people cannot be liars. And like you said, even if it happens in your own mind, you have still had that encounter. You've still gone through the emotions. You've gone through everything there is. Just because it's in there and it's not happened in physical form doesn't mean to say it never happened.
Yeah, exactly. And we've spoken to hundreds of people, and they've all got their own unique experiences, and that's the one thing that it makes it unique to them. And it's like, who are we to say that it didn't happen, that they're lying? Like we spoke to a guy, and he claimed to have been abducted by aliens every night, these grey aliens, and it started with paranormal and poltergeist activity when he was growing up. It's like, how can you call someone a liar? Look, even John Edmonds, his whole thing.
Oh yeah, wow, Like I said, it's like something out of a movie. But
he's chaining his wife down at night into her bed to stop her being abducted by aliens.
Well, they had a container unit, and they went to it one morning, and it was like 90 cows or bulls or something that were put in this container, stacked on top of each other. Physically impossible for a human to do.
Yeah. And I mean, like at Skinwalker Ranch, they had portals opening up, and they saw like Native Americans. Like the opposite side of the portal waving.
It's just mad.
It's just insane.
But going back to it happening in your head, because everyone keeps saying, "Oh, you need to open your third eye, your inner eye." What if you are? What if that's what it is? You're opening your inner eye, and I've said this before. I think some of these realms you can't physically get there in your human form. You can't get there in like solid form. You can only go there through your consciousness. So what if that is the only way of getting to these other realms is through your inner eye? So that's why you're experiencing them. No one else can see them because they're happening in there. But that's a gateway to get to these other places. Like when you dream, you're not physically going to these places. It's all in your head, but it's still happening. You're still living it. It's still going on. So I believe that your inner self is your gateway to a lot of these other realms that people talk about. So that's it. Right.
I'm just catching up on some of these comments.
No, yeah, I'm just looking at it as well. Right, so got some questions for you. So this is first one's for Greg, and it's from Og, and she's asking, Greg, have you seen any poltergeist activity in your investigations or otherwise?
Not what I would call poltergeist activity. However, I was at the Ancient Ram Inn, and I've saw some lights. I heard a growling noise the last time I was there. It's the one place where I've been, and I was literally petrified the whole time I was there. It was a small team of like 6 of us went, and we had the whole place to ourselves, and we were doing a recce at the start, and me and one of the guys, we went round to have a look round. I don't know if anybody's been to Ancient Ram Inn, but there's like a little sort of like a garage area, a barn, and we were in there and heard some noises behind us. So me and him looked round. I was like, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "Yeah." So we walked back out, and we walked back through to sort of the main bar area, and he goes, "Did you just hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah," and it was a growl.
Yeah.
Also at the Ancient Ram Inn, I've seen a Ouija board just been smacked from underneath and flew up into the air.
Oh, really?
Whether or not you'd call that poltergeist activity, I don't know, but it was definitely spooky. But the Ram Inn was literally, the last time I went there, I was freaked out. I wouldn't even go to the loo on my own.
Wow.
And I'm like 6'2".
Yeah.
I've not
6'2" big guy. I'm not a small guy. But it was horrific, and I was literally petrified the whole night. It was horrid.
See, I've not been there. I would like to go there. That is on the bucket list. Yeah, well, we're going to have to go.
But in terms of other poltergeist activity, no, I desperately want to see things fly across a room and whatnot, but no.
What happened with the Ouija board being flicked up from underneath?
So we were all round in the bar area, we all sat round, and it was like an oversized Ouija board. It was this huge thing, and all of a sudden it was moving, and just from underneath it appeared. That's where it sounded like, and just like whacked, like if you hit the bottom of a table, that kind of sound, and the thing just shot up into the air as though it had been launched from underneath. Yeah, it's freaky. It's freaky. Again, you can't fully discount anybody doing it, but it seemed unlikely just due to what had happened. But
yeah, I think it's one of those things that you can only really, unless you experienced it, you can't really.
No,
it's hard to justify what happened to other people, isn't it? Unless you were there in the situation.
Yeah, and that's why going on paranormal investigations and that kind of thing, it's helpful if you know these people and you can trust these people. It's at the point where you can't, and you're just not sure if they're doing some of the stuff. And
yeah.
Right. So here's a question from whatever the name is, I don't know. I can't say it. Busatsu. What's your take on Delamere Forest? I've seen that Greg and Sarah have been. Have I ever gone? So I have been to Delamere, but not doing an investigation. I've been there like during the day, like when the kids were younger, taking them out and that. And I've driven through there at night just because it was a shortcut to get to where I was going. But not heard of seeing anything in there. I hadn't been looking at the time, so maybe there was, maybe there wasn't.
I don't know where that. I don't know how you pronounce the name. Busatsu, Simia Delamere. But if it's on the episode of like Danny Moss's thing that which we recorded in Delamere, there's stuff that was not shown on there that was even freakier than the stuff that was on there. So I don't know why it didn't make it. That we saw an actual attest that we saw some lights at the bottom of a pathway, and these lights kept moving, and it was pitch black. There was no reason for any other person to be where we were. And yeah, these lights were moving. So it was very strange. We saw a lot of UAP stuff there. So it's a very strange place, Delamere. I'd like to go back again, to be fair.
We nearly
had some weird stuff.
Yeah, we was gonna go when we went to Ash's basement, but the weather was that bad. We're like, it was an hour in, and the rain was just not stopping. I thought there's gonna be, by the time you get there, the chance that it might not be raining. But we just thought, do you know what? I'm just it's not worth the risk, because it's not like it's around the corner.
No, that's right. For us, like, it's not around the corner, is it at all, Andy?
No.
It is. It's kind of is for us. Like, I'm only like 35, 40 minutes away from Delamere, and me and Chris went. I've been with the girls a couple of times, but the first time I went was with Chris, and we heard growls. And I say this all the time. I think I've mentioned this a million times on this podcast, but like the growl noises that we heard were in response to us calling out for them to do it again, and they were really guttural and sounded quite distant. And it's on the TikTok, and if you put your earphones in, because you can hear it clearer, you can hear some growls, really guttural growls in the distance. But we've had quite a few weird sightings, so lots of very pitch black, blacker than black. Places. Like if you're looking down, I mean, you could be your eyes, you're in the dark, but if you're looking down a pathway, we've seen shadows that appear to just be getting closer and closer to us. We were walking down a clearing, and there was a black shadow behind us in the trees that just seemed to be moving along with us. It wasn't getting further away. The shadow seemed to be moving with us. Could have just been the trick of our eyes, but it was that was strange. I like Delamere. Definitely need to go back.
So if you could choose anywhere to go, in, let's say in the UK, if you could spend a week anywhere investigating, where would you go?
I would like to go to somewhere like Delamere, maybe Cannock Chase for a week. Because there's lots of different stories of different occurrences there. Me and Ash went to Cannock Chase. We've been all around that area, and we've had some really crazy experiences with like the Estes method in the middle of the field at night, and we ended up, it was like, right, we just need to get out of here. This is weird. So we like literally packed up all of our stuff, and it took every ounce of my strength to not run. It was it was horrible.
But it's like when I went last, me, Sobot, and Ash met up, and I had to get going because I had stuff to do. And Ash is like, I'm going to go to the German cemetery. I'm like, what, on your own? He's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, what? And he's like, I cannot go in the basement. I don't even like going in there during the day, but anywhere else, I go, it's fine. Doesn't bother me. I'm like, you're mental. Absolutely mad.
That's it. I mean, in most places I would go to, like, for example, we had an experience at Cannock Chase again, where Ash was like, I think I saw something over in the distance. So I just sort of like, right, I said, I'll go over there and see if I get to the point where it is, let me know, and I'll stop and see if that's where. I stopped myself about 50 yards away, and he was like, that's exactly where I saw whatever it was. He didn't tell me. I just went straight to the point of where this thing was. It was just such a weird place, and that's the same point in Cannock Chase that the dowsing rods were spinning around as well. Odd. My camera, I had a camera, DSLR camera, set up ready to just take photos whenever on a tripod, and it actually made the clicking sound and went off. Ash will attest to this as well. It went off, but there was no photograph taken. But the camera actually made the shutter sound. Very odd.
Weird. I'm actually going Cannock Chase twice next month.
Are you?
Right. Yes. When?
So the first one is, I can't really talk about. I can tell you that I'm going at the beginning of the month. We're going in like 2 weeks. And the second one, we're going to be doing a meet-up at the end of the month. So if you guys are up for it, you're more than welcome to come along. We know of places where wild camping is available. Yeah, that's the way of getting out of that one. You are able to do a stay over, shall we say, without anyone knowing you're even there. And there's a few different places.
Fall asleep there.
Yeah. I'm not even joking. People are walking past like 20, 30 foot away, not got a clue you're there. So it is a really good place. Really good.
I've been in those places before, don't worry.
Yeah. So, and there's a few of them, but they're not close together, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but one particular area there's me, Simon, Sober, Warren Aircastle, and what we went to a different area, but then the second time we went, we found somewhere else, which is just outside Cannock. It's still in Cannock, but like right on the outskirts, and there is so much stuff dating back. It hurts thinking about it. But when me and Ash we were stood where we'd parked the cars, and we're chatting, and we could hear and see. It sounds so stupid. We could hear stuff, or I could hear stuff, and I kept seeing things out like peripheral. And Ash kept looking, and it's like there's something going on around there. But every time we tried to home in on it, just stop. And that's what was happening when me and Sober stayed there that night. Fall asleep, I'd wake up and I'd hear chattering like, yeah.
Oh.
And I'd be like, I'd listen, and then it start again, and I'm like, Sober. And I eventually wake him up. He's like, what's up? And I went, don't matter, it stopped. I woke you up yet again for absolutely no reason. Every time I woke, this happened probably happened about 8 times in total, but the last time is like 5 times on the run. But I'm not waking him up again. I'll just sit here and listen. Weird owls. I thought the same owl, and then we realised it was 2 owls. Then I thought one had moved, and then there was 3 owls. We had and where we are, it's off the beaten track, but at the same time, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a group of deers that ran past, and he said there's about 20 deers, and one of them, it said it looked like it had like a rooster stuck to its horns or a big red bag. I couldn't see this from where I was sat because I was doing a live stream. The iPad was on a tripod right in front of me, and if I'd have had to get up, I've had to move all the cables and the batteries and everything out of the way to have a proper look at it. So yeah, it was, and we heard. He heard wood knocks, a couple of different wood knocks. Like we said, we heard the chattering. There's a little lake near to where we go as well, and we seen a light going over it. And when you checked in the morning, you would have had to have been on a boat or use an RC boat going round, but you'd have heard it. And this light was just like dancing about above the water and through the trees. So we don't know what that was.
Wow, that's weird.
That's weird. So I'm going showing someone the place in a couple of weeks of where they can hang out overnight. And then I'm going to be going back towards the end of November for a meet-up. If anyone's interested in coming, you are more than welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only going to be for the midday to early evening. If you want to stay over, then you can't. It's up to you. But I can point out particular places where weird stuff has happened, not just to me, but other people that have gone in the past. So
sounds good.
Yeah. And it's not right in the middle of Cannock where you'd expect it to. So that's the best bit. So if you're getting this on the outskirts, like near the residential areas, imagine what's going on in the middle when there's none about. It is very, very interesting. Right, we've got about 5 minutes left, and we've still got a couple of questions.
Yep, cool.
All right, so done Delamere Forest. From Bot Satsuma, that's the only name you're getting. I don't care. I can't say it. So that's your new name now. Sorry, not sorry. If you could choose anywhere, if I could choose anywhere, it would be Mill Street Barracks. Heard that place is scary as shit. I've never heard of it. Don't even know where it is. Couldn't tell you anything about it.
It's on our radar.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's I think. Well, I don't know. We weren't. I mean, this will be okay to say on here. There's reasons why we weren't saying anything, but we are going there next.
Right.
But yeah. So with the girls, we are going there next. So that'll be interesting. I'm excited for that. A new place that we've not been before.
Excellent.
But yeah, so that'll be quite interesting. I've not heard a lot about. I know of the venue, but I haven't heard about the history or anything. I don't want to. I just want to go in blind. But I've heard of it. I know a lot of people do.
See, that's the best way. I'm going to be going hopefully next few weeks. There's some bunkers. They're only up the road from me, and Tim knows about them. It's like you got to park and then walk up there, but it's like there's all you can hear weird stuff and the sightings of different things that go on there. But
is it a big venue?
No, it's like you've got to get to the middle of this field. I didn't even know. I've lived here for 5 years. I drive past it literally every day for work, and I didn't even know it were there. I know the villages that surround it because I've driven through them, but I've never heard of the place. Didn't know it existed. Nothing.
No.
So, yeah, I'll find out more, and then I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, so that is pretty much it, guys. We have done our 90 minutes or thereabouts. So,
I was going to talk about one other thing.
Yes.
So I've got a secret project coming up soon.
Yes.
And there are a lot of clues. It sounds more like we're spy related than it is. So at the moment, there are. If you look on social media, there's a lot of things that will point to what I'm doing next. I've got something exciting coming up soon. So, but you'd only have to check social media, not my social media, but social media, and it's there. There's a lot of signs as to what I'm doing next.
Yeah.
So makes it sound a lot better.
The thing that you mentioned, right? Yeah. Right.
But yeah,
it's not long to wait though before everyone finds out. Anyway, is it?
No, and it might be sooner than I told you as well.
Oh, even better. Are you sure? Are you sure you can't say anything now? Should we ask the people involved?
Yeah, I did try and ask the person involved as well, and they said exact words were, "I know we're on a timer, so I will keep it brief."
It's still got a few minutes.
I put. I'll tell you exactly what they said. I said, "Should I tease anything?" And they put laughing emoji. Maybe like say you're looking to return to podcasting or something. So that's from the horse's mouth. So
yeah. I think this horse's mouth should elaborate. Do you reckon?
Shall I just say it?
Don't know. Let's see. Is the horse's mouth watching? I'm waiting for either a private message telling me to go away. Not very polite as that, though. Or
I don't know if the horse's mouth is watching.
There was earlier. He was. I did see him in the chat.
He was in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked him, and he's not
I
on.
said they, and he said he.
Oh yeah, he.
We've got a few minutes. It's okay. We didn't start till late anyway.
No, that's right. That's right.
So we've got still got another 5 minutes yet before we need to start off.
Okay. So, Busatsu, or however you pronounce it. Where did you see me? See me at Delamere. Let me know where you saw me at Delamere. That'd be cool. I'm waiting for Ash now. There's another clue.
I've just dropped the horse's mouth a message.
I'll say meow. Okay. So yes, I've had the green light. With laughing emojis. So I will be returning to the Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast.
Yes.
Full time again. After I left a year ago because of everything, I shall be going back. And if you've been following social media recently, there's a new Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast website, which my picture's on.
There you go.
So
I just want to point out that I can keep a secret.
Yeah,
because I got told about this about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you checked with the other people involved, and I not said a word to no one. So
no,
it can be
I'm
done.
impressed,
It can be done.
Yeah.
So massive thank you, because I was absolutely gutted, right? That you were supposed to come on the show when Ash was coming on, and that was like the week that all the stuff was going on with yourself. So Ash was like, "Yeah, I can still come on, but I'm going to be coming on my own." And it was just, I was gutted that you weren't on, but it was still good because Ash was on, and and he's a great guy as well. So
no, he is. So I'm going back. So
yes, excellent.
Looking forward to that.
Cannot wait. And hopefully I want to get both of you on together without this one in the car and getting in the way of things. So so no, it's cool. So thank you both so much for coming on. Great to see you on here again, Sarah. Great to see you back in the world of paranormal, Greg.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, and another exclusive. I keep getting these exclusives. I might have to start charging people. But no, thank you both so much for coming on. Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It's been fun.
So
I'll be back.
Anything you want? Yes, you need to be, because I'm getting moaned at left, right, and centre.
So the Paranormal podcast. Go and like and subscribe.
Yes, and if any of you want to send me the link, I can put it in. In fact, it's going to be on the last one that Ash came on, because I put it on there. So if you go to,
I'll send you the link tree. Yeah.
Because I'll put it on here as well, and this is going to go out on podcast. So thank you to everyone who's downloaded on podcast. Really appreciate it. And that's it. So do you guys have anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, all good.
Excellent. Well, thank you both, and thank you, Ash, the horse's mouth, for giving the go ahead. Absolutely love it. And we all need to go out and do an investigation together.
We do.
You need to come down to Kingsthorpe, because Kingsthorpe is an amazing place. And Northampton.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where I went with him.
Okay,
yeah. But there is one rule. This is for Sarah. Keep out the bins.
I can't make any promises. I'm sorry.
And Ashley says he'll come down, so it'll be worth it. I promise you. Because if you don't get anything there, we'll definitely get somewhere else, and it's less than 5 minute drive. So It's all good. So thank you, everyone. Absolutely wonderful tonight, as always. I'm going to be back on Wednesday, where we're going to be talking about what happened in Rendlesham. So there's me, Tim, Alex, Elaine, Simon, Mike's dog, and Og. So I'm going to put the footage up of when I was doing the dowsing rods. I'm going to get that done tomorrow. And that's it. Oh, and also, fingers crossed, everyone, please do hope that this goes well. I can reapply to YouTube on Tuesday to get monetized again. I've had my 3-month ban is over on the 22nd. So if it does, Super Chat will be back open. So, and thank you everyone that's come in the chat. We've got Warren, Tony, Ash, Ada, UFO Joe, Boots Satsuma, the Reverend, Og, Joe, Baby with a Laser, Paranormal, Pixie, and everyone else. Massive thank you, especially on a Sunday. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you on Wednesday when I'll be joined by Alex and possibly Tim. So goodbye for now.
Goodbye.